All right, a little bit of an abbreviated intro tonight. I'm exhausted. This episode of Raw, not bad. I don't know if anybody's starting to get flashbacks to something that was done during the Attitude Era. Not saying that everybody represents, something that happened at that time, but I remember for a couple of years, we had an amount of time that was a lot of factions. You had the Disciples of Apocalypse, Los Boricuas, the Nation of Domination. Even later on, you had some smaller factions, D-Generation X. A lot of factions brawling with each other. And, I see people, and we had a discussion yesterday on a sit-down about Becky Lynch. That, unfortunately for now, Becky Lynch, Bayley, and a few others have to take a step aside so Rhea Ripley could cement herself, so Bianca Belair could cement herself. A couple of years ago, people stepped aside so Bayley could take the role in Bianca and and Becky and Charlotte, Sasha Banks as well. It happens, but the interesting thing about it is, you look at Damian Priest. No push, if you really think. No title matches, nothing. Finn Balor, yes, he had the great match against Edge at WrestleMania, but, when you really start dissecting it, the LWO, I mean, we've brought it to the surface. No one else really wants to talk about it. Go look at Santos Escobar's record on the main roster since he's been promoted from NXT. Not impressive at all. It's all about perception, everyone. It's all about perception. And right now, the factions seem to control WWE programming. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But just a little bit of nostalgia, me thinking, by the way, I wanted to put this out there only because today would have been the 69th birthday of Roddy Piper. And I've had a lot of memorabilia over the years. This is probably one of my favorite things that I've ever owned. This is an original Roddy Piper shirt from like 1984. I know it's a little wrinkled. There ain't no way I'm ever going to put this on. But I was looking at it today, just a little bit of reminiscing. Roddy Piper, 69 years old today, man. Rest in peace, Roddy Piper. I showed this to someone a couple of months ago, and they said to me, hey, would you ever give it to MJF? Because MJF is one of the biggest Roddy Piper fans of all time. And if I had the opportunity to meet MJF, yeah, I'd give him the shirt. Don't want nothing in return. Because I know it's, every time you see MJF, you can feel a little bit of Piper in him, a little bit of loose cannon. So, that's one of the things that I kept and probably will keep. So, because I ain't meeting MJF anytime soon. Not looking to, but all right. We had Raw tonight, and I don't know, something is missing. Since we're going to talk about Raw for the most part, we have a little bit of a contest as well, and we're going to have a little bit of fun tonight. We're going to put a couple of hints out there as far as the contest, and you got to pay attention to the hints, because once we get to the final hint, there's only 3 hints. Once you get to the final hint, you know exactly what you're going to need to do. But and I'm not going to make you sit through the entire 75 minutes of the show. I promise you, we will do it early. But, just something about tonight's Raw that really got under my skin. And yes, we've talked about it for decades. Tonight, though, it was just to a different level. And yes, blame the lack of crowd energy. I mean, they got into it for the main event. There was a lot of points tonight. I don't know, maybe this will help a little bit. Maybe this will help. Will this help if we recap Raw? Should we make it a little bit louder? I mean, Trish Stratus, they piped in so many boos. What was the other segment? The women's tag match. They piped in boos for Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville's entrance. They piped in noise for like 30 minutes straight. If you watch the crowd closely, come on. right, let's take it out. It gets good. Actually, you know what? This is, if they did these chants, it'd probably be a hell of a lot more fun. But oh my God, they piped in so much crowd noise tonight, and it was so glaring. Bronson Reed, when Bronson Reed attacked Bobby Lashley, oh my God, listen, I know you want to give the perception, you know, but that was just to a different level tonight. I mean, it was embarrassing. And I don't mind a little bit of enhanced noise. AEW does it. WWE does it. ECW never did it because ECW just didn't have the technological wherewithal at that time. You know, plus they would just play like CDs. You know, throw a CD in there, go to track 5, play some music you're not supposed to, and that's it. They didn't have any mixer boards like this. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I had the privilege of seeing behind the scenes ECW shows, XPW shows being edited. You know, just going to that guy's basement in Westchester. Holy shit. I thought I was in like holy territory. It was amazing to witness, but at the ECW arena, you didn't have that technology. Not even close. But, you know, tonight's episode, you know, I think obviously the two main aspects of it is setting up the 2 matches for Backlash. We already know 3. One will be made official next week, but the 2 matches that they announced for tonight, let's pull them up. And look, this is one that we've talked about for a couple of weeks now, so this should not be surprising for anybody. You know, Matt Riddle, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens versus the Usos and Solo Sikoa at Backlash, 6-man tag. Even when Matt Riddle was still on ice, you know, we talked about this in nauseum, that Matt Riddle was going to come back, go after Solo Sikoa, be thrown right into this mix. Believe it or not, Matt Riddle originally was supposed to get involved at WrestleMania and maybe even assist Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to win the tag team championships. But, and I'm happy for this, WWE decided, no, they wanted those 2 guys to win it on their own. And by the way, I know if you look at the synopsis tonight, you could see the topics that we're going to discuss. And I might get a little out of order with the list, but I got to throw this out there right away. And we talked about it yesterday, but when you see established journalists doing this, it's terrible, it's nauseating, and it's disgusting. Okay. Legitimate news outlets today were reporting, and this is how they worded it. Very, very cute how they worded it. WWE may force Triple H to strip Sami Zayn. Well, I shouldn't say strip. WWE may force Triple H to take the titles off of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for not being able to appear at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. You know, that is disgusting because you're getting into the territory of religion. You're getting into the territory where WWE talked to their roster years ago that no one is obligated or forced to go to Saudi Arabia. It is optional. Sure, if you want to maybe get a little bit of extra brownie points and you don't mind as much, you go. But for some people, it's offensive to want to go to Saudi Arabia. And the idea that journalists could just push aside, you know, religious views, aspects, certain things, just to get some, you know, hits, that's disgusting. And we talked about it yesterday, and I was blown away how many people started reporting it as a news story today. It is false, it is stupid, and it is asinine. So if you're reading that anywhere, it is ridiculous. That's not happening. Listen, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn could lose the titles in the next month. I'm not saying that they can't, but the idea to even put out there that because Sami Zayn is against going to Saudi Arabia, that he might be put in a situation where he loses the tag titles as a result, that is offensive. That is offensive. That is disgusting. So, and you know what's sad about it? These dumb schmucks, I wish this was 2005 because I'd use some worst words. And yeah, sticks and stones may break my bones. Words don't faze me. But these assholes out there doing that, they don't even understand how offensive it is because they don't think. So, and you know what? Let's get some more bullshit thrown out of the way. We had fun with this on Saturday. You remember on Saturday we were talking about Drew McIntyre, and if you didn't check out the show, if anybody it's on YouTube, there'll be a magic link that'll pop up later on. Got to remember my 10-minute timestamp. We joked about Drew McIntyre on Saturday. Last week on Twitter, he blacked out. What that means is he takes his picture down, he removed WWE references, and right away, people are like, oh, he's unhappy about his current status in WWE, creative issues, Vince McMahon back in charge. He was pulled from an autograph signing, taken off of SmackDown. There's problems that WWE, and he may not negotiate a new contract, even though it doesn't end until the end of the year. You know, it's funny, in any other profession, in any other sport, entertainment, you know, when contracts expire, let's say December 31st, 2023, that for some reason, if you don't start negotiating 9 months early, something is wrong. Did you see today? Becky Lynch, her contract is up in June 2024. 13 months. Oh my God. Rebecca Quinn is All Elite. Fuck you. Fuck you. You signed a 2-year deal. That means if you don't, you got to negotiate another deal halfway in. So Saturday we were having fun about the Drew McIntyre thing because the draft is coming up. It's not rocket science. I'm not that smart. The draft is coming up. Anybody that is stuck in the mud right now, they're not going to suddenly spark this big storyline 2 weeks before the draft. And then if they want to, you know, change this or manipulate this or move this, you know, they have to. No, they're not doing that. So Drew McIntyre, to play into the fact that, you know, he lost at WrestleMania and there's nothing going on at the present moment, gives the impression these people aren't stupid. They see on social media that their names are trending, and they see why they're trending, because all of these fake journalists are putting news out there saying that Drew McIntyre is unhappy with his contract. He's unhappy with this. He doesn't like his position. WWE creative, blame Vince McMahon. It's not. So Becky Lynch today took a page from Drew McIntyre. Oh, wait. We'll get back to the matches. There you go. Now, notice she's not verified anymore because that is a Twitter rule now. If you change your profile name for 24 to 48 hours, maybe up to a week, if you don't have any power, you know, in the social media world, you lose your blue check mark. And they will re-verify that Rebecca Quinn is who she is, and she will get her blue check mark back in a day or two. But she blacked out of Twitter, just like Drew McIntyre. She changed her name. She removed WWE references. And she wrote on Twitter today, I won't be coming to Raw today. And what happens? Hook, line, and sinker right away. Becky Lynch, not happy with her current status in WWE. You know, stuck in the mud. The tag team run with Lita was a hot mess. And she has no, you know, God, Becky Lynch is having the opportunity to feud in the last 12 months against two of her biggest inspirations to become a wrestler in the first place. We don't have to be famous, guys, gals. We don't have to be wrestlers ourselves. We don't have to be in this profession to understand that if you get the opportunity to be able to do something with a role model, to do something with someone who inspired you. I've brought this up so many times over the years, and I will keep bringing it up because it's one of my favorite memories being a wrestling fan. About 12, 13 years ago, I drove with Lowlife Louis Ramos to Connecticut. Might even be more than 13 years ago. I drove with Lowlife Louis Ramos to Connecticut because he was going to face Terry Funk in Connecticut. My favorite wrestler of all time, Terry Funk, is going to be taking on one of my favorite wrestlers, and I consider a dear friend, Lowlife Louis Ramos. We went there, Terry Funk, way past his prime. Lowlife Louis cracked his tooth in half. I don't think he ever fixed it, because every time somebody said, what happened to your tooth? Hey, Terry Funk did that. That's fucking awesome. That's awesome. My point is, he had the opportunity to face one of his childhood idols growing up. And that is something that even when you're no longer wrestling, even if you're no longer socially active, even if you're no longer even online, that is something they can never take from you here and in here. And Becky Lynch last year had the opportunity to work a program with Lita. This year, Becky Lynch gets an opportunity to work with Trish Stratus. That is awesome for Becky Lynch. That is awesome for Lita. That is awesome for Trish Stratus. And I saw a lot of people tonight really going hard on Trish Stratus, who came out and cut a promo explaining her actions. Now, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but for those people out there, my God, when was the last time Trish Stratus cut a heel promo in front of 10,000 plus fans? 15 years ago? I mean, seriously. I mean, these people think that because you did it for so long, and even though you haven't done it in 15 years, that it's like riding a bike. You go out there, you don't lose it. You just get right back on the mic, and it's not like you've ever... Get the fuck out of here. Seriously. They do it. It's going to look like the witch from the Wizard of Oz. They're going to melt. They're going to melt quicker than butter on the Phoenix sun. What are these people talking about? Cut her a little slack. I thought she did a decent job tonight. And why am I bringing it up? That is the reason why Becky Lynch went black tonight. Becky Lynch was not at Raw, so all of the spotlight could be on Trish Stratus. Because Becky Lynch, with all due respect, you either love her or you hate her. But she is very, very smooth on the mic. Some people don't like the way she cuts promos, but she is smooth with the comebacks. Trish Stratus hasn't cut a promo as a heel in, 2 decades, 15 years? I don't know exact years. They did not want to add any additional pressure on Trish Stratus. They did not want to have a confrontation with Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus on the mic tonight because they didn't know what to expect with Trish Stratus. They were confident that she would do fine. And I honestly think under the circumstances, she did fine. She did fine. She didn't have cheat notes on her arm like The Rock back in the day. The Rock, he wanted to make sure that he hit all his bullet points. Big deal, But the point is, that's why Becky Lynch was not on Raw. They wanted to allow Trish to not be interrupted, let her do her thing, and leave all the spotlight on her. That's why they didn't even have Lita. By the way, did anybody pick up that Kevin Patrick kind of like spoiled that it was Trish who attacked Lita last week? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but earlier in the night, when they were hyping up that Trish was going to speak tonight, Kevin Patrick, he said, I know my ears didn't deceive me, he said that Trish is going to explain her actions for attacking Lita and attacking Becky Lynch last week. And I was like, we knew what happened, but it was interesting because I could swear that Kevin Patrick, let it out of the bag before Trish even said it. So, but I thought she did a decent job tonight. All right. Another match that we have to discuss that is happening at Backlash. And obviously we knew that this was going down. Cody Rhodes will be taking on Brock Lesnar. And, tonight on Raw, there was sort of a face-to-face, but as Cody Rhodes said, Brock, you could wear a cowboy hat, you could go hunting, you could live on the farm, you could live on the ranch. You ain't a cowboy. You a coward. You a coward. Because Cody Rhodes, and I got to be honest with you, I thought some of this segment was kind of stupid because for a whole week, they advertised that they were going to be face-to-face. All right. They played Cody Rhodes' entire entrance, music, pyro, Whoa! Everything. Comes to the ring, and he wants to talk to Brock Lesnar. Now, yes, he was dressed in gear, and Adam Pearce comes out, and Adam Pearce says, you're not cleared. Okay. In storyline, to me, okay, you can't wrestle tonight. You can't get physical. But Adam Pearce is insisting that Cody Rhodes leave the ring. It's like, wait, he's not cleared to talk? And they did all this hype and he's got security. And, as I joked earlier tonight, Wardlow is not impressed. Wardlow is not impressed because Wardlow beat up 20 security guards not too long ago. He beat up 20 security guards. Oh, yeah. Here's a better picture of it. Remember these are the victims of Wardlow. But, I deleted on Twitter because you know the deal. Unless you're one of the cake and ice cream crew and you write something, nobody finds it funny. Shit. I even had on Twitter earlier that when Trish made her entrance, guys, gals, it's the fourth member. It's the fourth member. It's be real. As soon as I saw that, I photoshopped Trish onto Imperium. I'm like, she's the fourth member. Because the intro, it looked exactly like Imperium. I was like, there. But nobody thought it was funny, so I deleted it. Somebody else posted it, got 1,600. I don't do it for likes, but when people don't even take any time to get a laugh out of it, acknowledge it, fuck you. I'll just do it here on the show with everybody. But that was our entrance earlier. But so getting back to this match, Cody Rhodes wants to confront Brock face to face. Adam Pearce says Cody is not cleared. Oh, Cody is not cleared. Whatever. So Brock Lesnar, people want him. We want Brock. We want Brock. Adam Pearce convinces Cody Rhodes to leave the ring. Cody Rhodes leaves the ring, and the fans are booing. Those were legit boos, by the way. Fans were booing, and we thought, this segment kind of sucks so far. I mean, Brock was coming out, but Cody goes under the ring, grabs a chair, and he goes back in the ring, and Adam Pearce is like, look, I don't want you to do this tonight. Not tonight, not tonight. You want the match at Backlash? You want Brock Lesnar? You could have him at Backlash, Puerto Rico, but please, not tonight. Leave the ring. And he calls out security guards. And all these indie wrestlers come out there, and Cody Rhodes is beating the fuck out of all of them. It was kind of goofy, let's be honest. And then Brock Lesnar's music hits. Brock comes out. This time he's wearing like a leather overcoat, similar like Undertaker's. He's got the black cowboy hat. He's just standing on the rampway. He's just smirking. Crowd is booing him. You can see the crowd is 90% in favor of Cody Rhodes here. Cody Rhodes is trying to get at Brock, and here comes more security guards. I think there was 28 I counted all together, even though the official number is 20. And Cody Rhodes is beating him up. This guy's waiting to get chair bashed. This one's getting thrown over the top rope. And just when we thought Cody and Brock were going to finally get their hands on each other, Brock Lesnar turns around, smirks, and walks out. And that's when Cody gets on the mic and he says, you're not a cowboy, you're a coward. And good. The more we want to see Cody and Brock go at it, the more we're going to want to see that match at Backlash. And there's, a lot of people, I'm going to be honest with you, and I know you've seen it as well. There's a lot of people that cannot, and I want you to think about what I'm about to say. There's a lot of people that cannot suspend disbelief that Cody Rhodes could beat Brock Lesnar. If you pay very close attention, people are like, oh, they got to do a false count anywhere. It's got to be a no DQ. They got to do something different, because there's no way anybody's going to believe that Cody Rhodes could beat Brock Lesnar. With all due respect, I remember back in the day, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, smaller guys beat Brock Lesnar. And don't give me, well, that was Brock Lesnar from 2006 or 2004. Don't give me that. It's still Brock Lesnar. He's still the beast. He was the next big thing back then. Then he was the beast incarnate. So, come on. You telling me that Cody Rhodes in storyline cannot beat Brock Lesnar? Let's see the match, and let's see how they do the match. If the match is not believable and it looked a little bit too over the top, yeah, we'll call him out on it. But don't act like people of Cody Rhodes' size, and Cody Rhodes has actually bulked up a little bit. He's put on about 15 to 20 pounds of muscle since last year. And yeah, look at the picture of him before his injury last year and look at him now. He's actually a little bit more developed than you realize. So, the more they keep these two guys apart, look, they're probably going to do a contract signing. You know how WWE operates. I don't know if it's going to happen next week. I don't think it will. It'd probably be the following week, which would be really interesting because that's draft day. Remember, not this Friday. Next Friday is night one of the draft. And then 2 weeks from tonight is night two of the draft. And by the way, I reached out to Kevin Castle, did not receive a response yet. But I asked him if he wanted to do next Tuesday, maybe a little draft preview, not even predictions, but maybe some predictions because, our faction's going to be broken up. Our tag team's going to be broken up. But also what we would do, who we would draft from Raw to SmackDown to Raw. And yes, remember that wrestlers can show up on both brands, but each brand has its own separate champions. Sooner or later, the heavyweight and the Universal Championship will be divided back into two different champions. The tag team titles ultimately will be divided back into two champions. So when the day comes that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens lose championships, they probably would lose one set and keep the other. And that's perfectly fine. And when it comes to Roman Reigns, though, I still believe, I still feel it. I see it. I envision it that Cody will beat Roman for both titles. And then I think Cody Rhodes will look at both belts and say, hey, I have two titles here. Looks like I'm going to be doing double duty. And I think Cody Rhodes is going to defend his championships twice. I know a lot of people still think that Sami Zayn should get thrown into the mix, maybe give one belt to Sami and one belt to Cody. I understand a lot of people out there think give one belt to Seth Rollins and one belt to Cody. I get it, but I don't think that's the way WWE will go. I think Cody will eventually dethrone Roman, take everything. And Cody, I have two titles. As long as I have two titles, looks like I'll be fighting twice. I'll be fighting on Raw. I'll be fighting on SmackDown. And yeah, he gets paid accordingly. So you will probably see Cody Rhodes defending championships on both brands. Then we got to see what happens with premium live events and how they do this with Cody defending the championship, because Cody cannot have two full-blown 15-plus minute matches. I mean, not even the greatest, could do two 15, 20-minute bangers unless you're prepared for like a King of the Ring or some type of tournament like that. So, all right, let's get into hint number one. All right, there's 3 hints, remember, because tonight, like I said, we're going to do our celebration. We teased it. We talked about it way back when I interviewed Matt Riddle's girlfriend, Misha Montana. But somebody is going to win 3 Matt Riddle autographed items. First item is going to be this autographed photo signed by Matt Riddle. The second item is, and this one is worth quite a bit online, the last one that's sold, that's been graded, sold for $165. This is limited to 10. It's Matt Riddle signed WWE card. And the third item, which I got to be honest with you, it's a pretty cool item to have, but I just have no place to put it. I put it on my table and my wife will be like, you got your fucking hat laid around. One person is going to win the signed photo, the signed card, and this WWE original bro signed hat. And not only does it have the WWE hologram, it is JSA authenticated on top of it. So the first hint tonight, and don't worry, it'll all make sense a little bit later. The first hint is here. About 4+ months ago, Solo Sikoa hit Matt Riddle with the Samoan spike. We had a segment on Raw tonight addressing what Solo Sikoa did to Matt Riddle 4 months ago. So your first hint in the back of your mind is the Samoan spike. Just keep that thought. We'll get into the next hint in a few moments. So let's fill in the blanks for Raw tonight. And then we got to talk. Oh, I got some cute video that you'll appreciate. And it has to do with John Morrison, John Hennigan. I'm sure by now a lot of you know that he made his boxing debut over the weekend. And he had a little entourage with them. And it was sad because a few people from the Cake and Ice Cream crew had their own cell phone footage. And they were posted online. And it was getting hundreds of thousands of views. And there was one person that was missing from their photo, from their video. And I was like, wow, how do you post this video and end it without showing this person? The video I have is from someone else that was there that tunes into the show. My friend Johnny. I'm going to share it with you in a few moments. You'll get a kick out of it. But let's talk a little bit more about Raw tonight. Now, I'm going to say this right now to get it out of the way. It's something that I don't even need to say to you because you already know it, but I have to remind you. My friends, this is not happening. This is not happening. We're not getting intergender WWE matches anytime soon. Maybe after the Endeavor deal. Understand that even though Endeavor and WWE are forming a new corporation, there are still advertisers, sponsors, negotiations, TV deals, and there's certain lines that you cannot cross, whether Endeavor signs the check or World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporated signs the check. Tonight they did it again. They teased an alliance, a temporary alliance between the Judgment Day and the Bloodline. So early on, everybody's like, oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. We got the Bloodline on one side. We have Judgment Day on the other. And while Paul Heyman is talking about this temporary alliance because they have a Kevin Owens problem, a Sami Zayn problem, and a Matt Riddle problem, and the Judgment Day tonight, we're going to take on those three guys. So why would the Judgment Day want to take on Riddle, Owens, and Zayn? Yes, you want to take them on, for various reasons, but tonight they tease a little bit of an alliance. And the alliance is not going to be a permanent one. It's not going to even extend for weeks or months. This alliance at the beginning of Raw was to set up the main event for Raw. That the Judgment Day were hired guns to take care of the Matt Riddle, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens problem. So everything was part of a storyline. And during this segment, they teased that Rhea Ripley and Solo Sikoa might be going at it. And then they got a little bit closer and people like, oh, give me the match. Give me the match. Put him in the main event. It's not happening. It's not happening. People didn't learn about the match with her and Tozawa, which you go back and you watch it. We don't need to revisit it. So get it out of your mind. Get it out of your mind. I would love to see Rhea Ripley take on Solo Sikoa. She got away with it with Tozawa. Tozawa got no kicks or punches in. With Solo Sikoa, though, it's not going to look good. What is he going to do? Keep running into the corner with his ass and she keeps moving out of the way? And you're going to do that for the whole match? It's not happening. But this is to set up early on. So we end up having an early match, Solo Sikoa versus Rey Mysterio. Solo Sikoa defeated Rey Mysterio. And as I said at the beginning of the show, it seems like WWE is really pushing the factions now more than anything else, because during this match towards the end, the Usos came out to interfere, and here comes the LWO. Because obviously, if you got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, with Matt Riddle, that's kind of like a trios. But even that, they're one person short. Hence, Rey Mysterio for tonight. But the Usos come out. LWO comes out to try to negate them. But unfortunately, Rey Mysterio, a little bit distracted, did hit a 619, but he climbed to the top rope, and unfortunately there was no water in the pool. So Solo Sikoa with the Samoan spike, 1, 2, 3. After the match is over, the Bloodline take out Rey Mysterio. Kind of a little bit of back and forth, like you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Judgment Day doesn't like Rey Mysterio, so Bloodline takes out Rey. Paul Heyman later on, you guys better hold your end of the bargain. Take care of the Riddle, Owens, and Zayn problem. So the one and done for Rey Mysterio. Unfortunately, no Bad Bunny for the save tonight, but next week, Bad Bunny returns to Raw. Next week, they will make the match official. It will be Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio at Backlash. Finn Balor will probably just be in their corner. Don't see Finn Balor actually having a match at Backlash. So that's what we got early tonight. Backstage segment, Chad Gable, Otis, and Maxine Dupree, and they're teasing that Alpha Academy should be drafted as a team. Adam Pearce is there as well. And Chad Gable wants them to be drafted as a team. And Maxine Dupree is like, don't you want Otis by himself? Otis. And Otis makes me laugh because Otis in storyline and in real life loves Chad Gable. And Otis is with Chad Gable right now. They're still a team. But when Maxine Dupree starts putting Otis on a pedestal, if you pay close attention, under his breath, he's like, oh, yeah. You know, it's like, it makes me laugh, man. But Adam Pearce, I got the Bloodline. I got Judgment Day. I got this. I got that. I'll take it into consideration. You know, all that was designed is to tease that some tag teams might get split. Shit, when we do, if Kev joins me next Tuesday, I think Street Profits are done. I really do. As much as I don't want to see them split, I wanted to see them have a good tag team run one time before they, one last time before they split. I still think Street Profits are done. But tonight, that was to plant the seed that, remember, some tag teams might get split up in 2 weeks. Bianca Belair beats Dakota Kai. Bayley and Io Sky are at ringside. They're not thrilled. Very disappointed in Dakota Kai's loss. No teasing of a split between Damage Control just yet. But now I'm starting to wonder if Dakota Kai ends up turning babyface. I don't know why. I don't know tonight. Not because of the way Bayley and Io Sky. Did you see their face? Soon as Dakota Kai got pinned, they were like kind of embarrassed. They're like, they had that look on their face. But no teasing as of yet of a split. And who knows? Maybe the easy way to split Damage Control is not even a heel turn or a babyface turn. You just draft them on different brands. Listen, I truly think when the draft is over, we will definitely have to admit that WWE copped out on some storyline swerves and just drafted people of different brands. Like, we're not even going to have them turn it. We're just going to split them up. We're going to split them up. I hope they don't do that with the Hurt Business. I know right now they have not aligned the Hurt Business yet, and we'll see what happens after the draft. But I just hope I'm holding out hope that they still do something with the Hurt Business. Interesting thing about it, they're insistent on having Bobby Lashley feud with Bronson Reed. And I think that feud is one of the reasons why the Hurt Business are not back together as of yet. And I think the draft has something to do with it as well. But think about it. Wouldn't it be pretty cool if the Hurt Business as a faction was involved in some of these brawls that we're seeing on TV? They chose the LWO route because of Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio with the LWO makes a lot more sense than Rey Mysterio with the Hurt Business, if you think about it. Seth Rollins over The Miz. This match was awesome. Let me tell you something. I saw some people who are really, really hard on Miz, that are not Miz fans at all. And they will even admitted tonight, a lot of them, that, man, that was a pretty awesome match. Yes, I will agree with a lot of you out there that Seth Rollins seems a little stuck in the mud right now. No question. I'm not going to sit here and say that WWE stars, bigger stars, are not stuck in the mud. But we have the draft in 2 weeks. Seth Rollins could be drafted to SmackDown and feud with Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Just brainstorming ideas. Yes, a lot of people are trying to plant this idea to you that the draft is going to be a disaster. It's going to suck. It's going to be awful. Why don't you just wait and see? Let's see what they do. Because when this draft is over with, we'll look back at it and we'll immediately start thinking about matches and feuds that could develop out of it. Understand, even though people don't want to, really think about this, NBC Universal and Fox are two totally different corporations. They want their own brands on their shows. They want people to identify with Raw, identify with SmackDown. And that's why also the championships will ultimately be split again. You're doing TV deals. The reason why it's not a big deal right now, because the Usos are on both brands. The Usos have picked up the slack. Roman Reigns has been on enough that they can compensate for it. And you got Cody Rhodes on Raw and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes off more as a SmackDown wrestler than anything else. Am I wrong? Roman Reigns holds the WWE Championship besides the Universal title. And yet, I think for a lot of us out there, Roman Reigns is perceived as a SmackDown wrestler, even though technically he's a champion for both brands. So, Seth Rollins beats The Miz tonight. Excellent, excellent match. Let's wait 2 weeks and see if Seth Rollins gets drafted to SmackDown. I think he does. Unless Gunther gets drafted to Raw and Austin Theory gets drafted to SmackDown. All right? That's a possibility too. Believe me when I tell you, Austin Theory being drafted to SmackDown is not out of the question. I kind of think that Gunther coming to Raw and Theory going to SmackDown is more likely than Seth Rollins going to SmackDown. All right. Hint number two. Tonight, addressing what Solo Sikoa did to Matt Riddle 4 months ago, we had a little bit of a backstage. Hold on. Let me make it. There we go. We had a little bit of a backstage segment with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle. And Matt Riddle is suggesting an idea to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And after Matt Riddle says it, I think Sami Zayn actually thought, hey, well, hear him out. And Kevin Owens has got this look on his face like, what the fuck are you talking about? And look, Kevin Owens, listen, let's go back to that pay-per-view picture. Look at the pay-per-view picture. Look, Sami Zayn is smiling. Matt Riddle, bro. And look at Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens looks constipated. Kevin Owens looks like he hasn't shit in 5 days. That's what this is. People are looking at this online like, they're planting the seeds. Kevin Owens is going to turn on Sami Zayn. Huh? Is that what they said to Paul Heyman tonight? What are you talking about? That's what this whole thing is. So Matt Riddle suggests an idea to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens was not having any of it. He wasn't having any of it. So that is hint number 2. Don't worry. Hint number 3 will put it all together. Wait, what did I just do? Oh, I know what I did. There you go. That's better. All right. Kevin Owens needs to smile a little bit more. I don't know about that. I think it's fine. I mean, it's good, but don't read anything further into it. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will be a team for a very, very long time. Bobby Lashley defeats Austin Theory by disqualification. It was a non-title match due to Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed's interference. This match was good. I think a lot of us were confused. Like, wait, we had Theory versus Lashley have a feud not too long ago. And, it would have been cool if Theory would have cut a promo on Lashley that, technically he's a legend also. But they just had a straight up match. Towards the end of the match, Bobby Lashley goes to put the Hurt Lock on Austin Theory. Theory pushes him into the corner, and next thing you know, here comes Bronson Reed for the DQ, runs into the corner, splashes Bobby Lashley. Referee calls for the bell. Austin Theory gets out of Dodge. Piped in booze. I mean, seriously, this is what it was. Bronson Reed is doing all this stuff, and it's piped in. It's piped the fuck in, and Bronson Reed is beating up on Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley goes for the hurt lock, gets the upper hand, and Austin Theory drop kicks Bobby Lashley, gets out of Dodge once again, and Bronson Reed is just talking smack to Bobby Lashley. I can't. If I play that long enough, it'll go, asshole, you fucked up. You still suck. Oh, that was brutal. I like Bronson Reed, but I look at it like this, man. You know, I hated Brussels sprouts as a kid. I hated cauliflower as a kid. Have you ever steamed cauliflower? If I took a shit in my toilet and didn't flush it for like 3 months and had no air conditioner in my house and kept my bathroom door closed for 3 months and then opened the door, it would still smell better than cauliflower. It gets to a point that if you don't like something, you could add adobo, you could add butter, you could fucking masquerade it, you could put little smiley faces, you could chop it up, you could hide it. You know, as soon as you taste it, like, it's Bronson Reed. You know, I like Bronson Reed. Motherfucker is not connecting. Yes, I will say what I've said before. Give him more time. But honestly, you know, this force feeding that, you know, like, I don't know many people that truly want to see Bobby Lashley feud with Bronson Reed. You know why? Do you know why a lot of people don't want to see it? At WrestleMania, oh, they have nothing for Bobby Lashley. Give him Bronson Reed. And tell me how Bronson Reed benefits if he loses. Well, they could have like a 15-minute match and Bronson Reed could take him to the limit and say, yeah, but, you know, this is WrestleMania and that's not how they have a lot of the big boys do their matches. And, you know, Bronson Reed feuding with Bobby Lashley, a lot of people think that Bobby Lashley is going to end up doing the job for Bronson Reed. And if Bobby Lashley prevails with this feud with Bronson Reed, where does this leave Bronson Reed? I mean, Bronson Reed is a big fucking boy. He's a big boy. What did that fucking hip hop guy say in AEW? Yeah, big motherfucker. Yeah, big motherfucker. What do you do with Bronson Reed after? Feud with Johnny Gargano when his shoulder is better, when the boo-boo goes away? Like, who does he feud with? He's going to feud with us. Tell me who really is going to be able to feud with Bronson Reed. You know, I mean, it's all nice and dandy when someone is out there and someone is working and doing stuff. You have to think a little bit ahead and say, okay, now what? Now what? That's why, you know, as much as I love Indy Hartwell, I did not want to go into the main roster for obvious reasons. No, I didn't crap on Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano is one of my favorites. My point is like, what do you do? What do you do? And by the way, the reason why I brought up Gargano is because that's how Bronson Reed was introduced to the main roster upon his return, if you remember. Remember The Miz? Remember the bags of money and all that shit? You know, the Dexter Loomis stuff as well? You know, that whole thing. So anyway, Bronson Reed causes the DQ. Crowd is just not into it. They piped in crazy amounts of booze because the fans just weren't into it. And honestly, you know, when do you get to the point where you're like, hey, you know what, Hit Row and some others, you know, they're not really working out as good as, you know, just because people are like, oh, Triple H, Booker of the Year, he's righting all of Vince McMahon wrongs. You know, I will even be the one to admit it. Some of those people I don't think should have been brought back. Yeah, maybe creative is the reason behind it. Maybe they're the ones to be at fault, but still. All right, Trish Stratus comes out. You know, I get a kick out of the people like, oh my God, Trish Stratus, she looks amazing. She looks amazing. She's always looked amazing. Trish Stratus has always been beautiful. Trish Stratus, she is a legend. And her explanation for attacking Lita and attacking Becky Lynch tonight, she said that women's wrestling was a joke when she arrived in WWE. And people will always say, no, it was Trish and it was Lita. And she's like, no, it was me. I was the first woman to make you people give a crap about the women's division. She brings up Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte at WrestleMania. Instead of you fans chanting, this is awesome, you should have been chanting, thank you, Trish. Thank you, Trish. Thank you, Trish. If you listen to Becky believes the women's revolution started with the 4 horse ladies. Anybody pick up on that? Because they didn't want the casual wrestling fan to Google the horsewomen and then find Marina Shafir, Ronda Rousey, and Paige, whatever. You know where I'm going with that. So now it's the 4 horse ladies. And she says that she couldn't believe that Becky Lynch was actually believing her own hype. And she said she came back, never once did Becky Lynch ever thank her once. She said Lita fell for it. Lita became Becky's sidekick. And then Trish just looks at the camera and says, I am no sidekick. I put Lita out of her misery, even though we know Kevin Patrick, revealed it earlier. She says, yeah, it was me. All right, it was me. I took Lita and put her out of her misery. And she screwed Becky Lynch out of the titles. I am not a nostalgic act. I am no one's sidekick. I am here because I am the greatest of all time, and so you never forget it. She's teasing there ain't going to be no match between her and Becky Lynch. Oh, yes, there will. Oh, yes, there will. Will it happen in Saudi Arabia? Will it happen at Backlash? Backlash might be a little too soon. I think Backlash might be a little bit too soon. Some people think SummerSlam. Ooh, I don't see this going for 2 months, 3 months. That's a long time away. So I think Saudi Arabia is look, the Saudi payday, man. I think people forget how much money some of these legends get to work Saudi. That's the reason why Shawn Michaels came out of retirement. Fans were chanting for 10 years or whatever it was, one more match. No. And then all that changed was the decimal point and the accent. One more match. We want one more match. Here's what we offer. I don't blame him. He's got crazy amount of money for his family. I probably would take it too, to be honest with you. So, and we know how that match ended up. After that happened, Shawn is like, honestly, let's be honest, everyone. Let's pretend, look, I'm wearing boxer shorts right now. It's late at night. I'm going to bed right after this. But pretend I have a back pocket right now. Shawn Michaels on the camera, he's got this wad full of crazy bills, and he's like, no, there's never going to be one more match. He's shoving that money in his pocket. Those tight-ass jeans that he has on. He's shoving that money under. He's like, no, I disappointed everyone. No. Give the money back. Give the money back. No. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, they defeated Candice LeRae and Michin. We had the women's tag team champions at ringside, and on Friday, SmackDown, in addition to Gunther defending the Intercontinental Championship against Xavier Woods, we will have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez have their first, successful title defense. They will be taking on Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. Carmella will be back shortly. That once the draft is done, we should see her. She might even be back the night of the draft. We had a backstage segment with Baron Corbin, the Street Profits, Rick Boogs, Elias, Tozawa, and the whole point was to once again tease that tag teams could split up. Elias is funny. Elias is like, I will be drafted number 1, so, it's a lot of added pressure. And Tozawa, he's joking about being drafted last, and Baron Corbin, hey, that's funny. He's like, nobody wants you. Go away. I hope somebody gets drafted to SmackDown. I mean, to NXT. I would fucking pop. Seriously, if you want a long shot, I want to hear that Baron Corbin has been drafted to NXT. I'm not kidding. I honestly want to hear that. Baron Corbin has been drafted to to NXT. We got very, very cool NXT preview for tomorrow. They've been stuck in the mud also. Tomorrow's NXT looks excellent on paper. I will show you the matches in a few moments. Let's get into the final hint for this contest. All right. Now, this is how we're going to do this Matt Riddle giveaway. After the show is over, you don't have to do it right after, and only do it once because only one will count. In the comment section, write whatever you want, but it's got to be a complete sentence. We're not going to take anybody that's just going to write a phrase, but write whatever you want about Raw. Write whatever you want about Backlash. Write whatever you want about Matt Riddle. Write whatever you want about, Solo Sikoa. Just make sure you include 2 words. Those 2 words were talked about tonight, and I will give you 1 photo hint of what those 2 words are. I will not acknowledge the chat room, so I don't want, if somebody gets it wrong, do not listen to them. But there is your hint. There is your hint. Okay? So next Monday, live, we will randomly, and we will show the screen, we will randomly pick 1 person who posts, and they have to include those 2 words. That's all I'm going to say. I think you'll be able to figure it out. So, now let's see how many people leave. Main event tonight, it was obvious. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle defeat the Judgment Day. Excellent match. Rhea Ripley at ringside, tormenting, laughing, Chuck just having a great time. She ends up getting ejected. But, I thought Dominic Mysterio ultimately was going to eat the pin. Believe it or not, it was Finn Balor eating the pin once again. And maybe they did that because it's going to be Dominic and Damian Priest in the match at Backlash. Finn Balor, subconsciously, people might think he's the weak link. He lost last week. He lost at WrestleMania. Plus, those staples in his head, he's, he didn't get like miraculous surgery where it's all better. It's not like you have a tear, in your jacket and you just sew it together and like, hey, look, it's brand new again. So I think giving him a little bit of time off is the right way to go. But towards the end of the match, Matt Riddle with the moonsault onto Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, with the haluva kick to Finn Balor, and Finn Balor eating a stunner, Damian Priest eating a stunner, Dominic Mysterio getting tossed like a salad, and they win. The Judgment Day fail. Now, you did not see the Bloodline feud or get pissed at the Judgment Day. Instead, right after the match was over, the Usos came out, and they started taking down Kevin Owens, Matt Riddle, Sami Zayn. And now you're thinking like, okay, who is going to combat the Usos? Obviously, they did not in any way, shape, or form want the Usos to be disappointed with the Judgment Day or Judgment Day to be disappointed with the Usos. So once again, here comes the Latino World Order. And I've said it going back to NXT. Santos Escobar is one of my favorites. But if you examine it closely, they feel like placeholders. Honestly, when you look at everybody who closed out Raw tonight, you look at those 3 guys, do you truly feel that there is any momentum with them whatsoever? A line with Rey Mysterio was awesome, and bringing back the LWO shirts are great and everything. But to me, they're just a placeholder. They were, if it wasn't going to be them, it would have been the Street Profits and somebody else. That's how it feels to me. So here comes the LWO once again, and they end up getting taken out and this, that. But at the end of the day, the reason why the Judgment Day and the Bloodline formed a temporary alliance at the beginning of the show was to explain why the main event was what it was. and what transpires afterwards. So now we may see the LWO versus the Judgment Day, or the LWO versus the Bloodline, or we might see, that's what they're doing with this. My concern is, after Puerto Rico, let's see where the LWO is on the food chain. I am concerned. I think they end up, just separating from a lot of the, I don't see long-term feuds with the LWO with this. It just feels like they needed, those were the best guys to make the most sense with Rey Mysterio. That's how I look at it. Overall, it was a decent Raw, but, the crowd was pretty dead at times, and that piping in of the crowd noise was just way over the top tonight, especially when you watch it at a decent volume, decent decibel, and you're hearing that, and it's like, man, and you really want to piss yourself off. Put it in surround sound. Put it in surround sound and just listen how distorted it sounds in your house. It's almost like nails on a chalkboard. If you have surround sound, all right. Tomorrow in NXT, and this is a loaded show, man. I think I accidentally almost deleted something. All right. Not only is, little premature ejaculation there. There you go. All right. Let's take the Raw banner off the screen. Tomorrow, Carmelo Hayes will be a guest on the Grayson Waller effect. All right. That's cool. But we have some matches going down. Roxanne Perez will be taking on Zoe Stark, two women that may be part of the WWE draft in 2 weeks. They will be wrestling tomorrow. Also tomorrow, Noam Dar. Noam Dar. Anybody remember him? I kind of think of Alicia Fox when I think of Noam Dar. Alicia Fox. That's how you say it. Alicia Fox. Noam Dar will be in action tomorrow. Honestly, Noam, this is not your cousin's NXT. I don't know if he's going to fit in, but hey, it is what it is. Noam Dar will be in action. The team of Gallus will be defending the NXT Tag Team Championships against the Creed Brothers and the Dyad, which I am very happy they are still there. Would they dare give the titles to the Dyad on a regular episode of NXT? I don't know about that. You got Spring Breakin' in 2 weeks. Maybe this match should have been on Spring Breakin', or maybe they do a hybrid of this match for Spring Breaking. And check out this match for tomorrow. William Regal's kid, Charlie Dempsey. Charlie Dempsey gets an NXT North American Championship shot. So Charlie Dempsey will be taking on Wesley tomorrow. And late tonight, they announced this match that I know a lot of you actually would probably be interested in seeing more than anything else. Gigi Dolan will be taking on Cora Jade. So not a bad episode of NXT tomorrow. I think it's pretty damn good. Dynamite on Wednesday doesn't look like a bad show. We're going to get into ratings. And Tony Khan did something stupid today. A few people did something stupid today. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think I'm going to be wrong. I'll tell you what that is in a moment. But here's your preview for this Wednesday's Dynamite. Powerhouse Hobbs defending the TNT Championship versus Wardlow. The Acclaimed and Daddy S will be teaming up to take on Jake Hager, Cool Hand Ange, and Angela Parker and Daddy Magic. FTR will talk. The Elite will talk. Jay White will be taking on Commander. Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker will team up to take on Ruby Soho and Tony Storm. And we will have a face-to-face with Chris Jericho and Adam Cole. Their match is rumored for AEW Double or Nothing. So, looks like a decent lineup for AEW. Not too bad. I didn't forget about that video with John Hennigan. I'll show it to you in a minute. Let's talk quickly about ratings. Let's go from last week's Raw to this past Friday. And we got to talk about something stupid, honestly stupid, that Tony Khan did today. And look, I know we're kind of hard on Tony Khan, but honestly, 1 week from now, I think we're going to look back at it and say, told you so. Told you so. I'll explain in a moment. Raw last week did 1,818,000. Last week when we talked about the ratings, we expected a dip from the Raw after WrestleMania. It was common sense. That was a big dip from the week prior is 2,260,000. But last week, Raw was still number one on cable. So still number one on cable, but still negative. That 400 plus thousand of your fans decided to do something else Monday night last week. MLW last week did 53,000 viewers, slightly up from the week prior's 48,000. I think this Tuesday is the final week in that 10-week stretch. So we talked about MLW over the weekend, see what Reels will do. I have a feeling MLW will remain on Reels. Maybe not every week, but I think they may end up on a different time slot. I don't know if they're going to remain on that Tuesday night time slot. So we may actually see a little shift there. NXT last week did 528,000 viewers, down from the week prior's 555. I honestly think they break 600,000 tomorrow. If they don't, really, and I don't blame it on playoff games or anything like that, except for one show, and I'm going to get into it in a moment. AEW Dynamite last week did 866. As we joked on Saturday, they're toll-free. Their ratings are now toll-free numbers. They're drawing toll-free numbers. The week prior was 877. Last week it's 866. Let's see if tomorrow is 888 or 800. You want to pop a good rating? Let's see 976. So the high point of last week was the segment with Wardlow destroying the Cutlass and the final moments of MJF and Darby's confrontation and Hobbs squashing Silas Young. That did 902,000. The lowest point of last week, as we talked about on Saturday, Chris Jericho versus Keith Lee only drew 779. New Japan last week did 57,000 viewers, slightly down from the week prior, 69,000. Impact from last Thursday did 115,000 viewers. That was slightly down from the week prior's 117. We'll talk about Rebellion on Wednesday. Nailed every match except for one. A dirty dango dickhead. And I say that jokingly. Rampage, here's where they screwed up. Rampage had a lead in from the basketball playoffs. And the thing with basketball playoffs you got to understand is you don't know exactly what time the game is going to end. And in a lot of cases, people who do DVR basketball games, especially those that have Nielsen boxes, you get a decent number that will record an hour into, an extra hour in case it goes to overtime. When I used to tape baseball games, I used to tape football games, I would always set it for an extra hour in case something goes overtime. And it would piss me off because sometimes baseball games, if it went past 12 innings, it would still get cut off. So what happens? Rampage on Friday, leading in from basketball, scored 639,000 viewers, highest rating in a year. If I could compare it, I'm not going to reveal how much I weigh right now, but if I went on my scale tomorrow and my scale was broken and it said I was 19 pounds lighter, I'm not going to go on social media and say, hey, everyone, I lost 19 pounds. I know that there's special circumstance attached to it. They knew that a lot of people were watching basketball, didn't change the channel. A lot of people DVR it, add an extra hour, and it bled into Rampage. So Rampage scored 639, highest rating in a year, up from the week prize 503. And right away, here comes Tony Khan, and here comes the elite whack jobs out there. You see, Rampage, it's on a roll. You watch next week. If there's no playoffs leading into Rampage and it drops back down to 500,000, what are these motherfuckers going to say? Well, that's because there was, playoffs last week. Like, they're acting like there was no lead in from NBA. And honestly, that's stupid because listen, if Rampage draws 600,000 next week, I'll eat this fucking hat. Seriously, I'll take a bite out of it. I'll do something stupid on this show, but you're not going to just shit out 150,000 wrestling fans out of nowhere because they were doing it in the force. You think suddenly 150-something thousand viewers are like, hey, you know what? I kind of like Sky Blue. I'm not trying to single her out, but let's be a little bit honest here. You know, they're acting today like, no, that's because Rampage, we're on the rebound. Let's see a week from now what it draws. SmackDown Friday did 2,265,000. That is down from the week prior's 2,468,000. Still a decent number, but you expected a drop being an extra week removed from WrestleMania. We don't have the ratings yet for the Iron Sheik's biography and the Hogan-Piper rivalry. The week prior, Dusty Rhodes did 461. Again, I watched that twice, loved it. Undertaker versus Randy Orton that rival scored 427. So not bad numbers there. All right, we got a couple of super shout-outs. Before I do that, I got to share this with you. So John Hennigan won his boxing debut over the weekend. And he had an entourage with him. And, you know, the people out there, a little clickbait, which is it's harmless. Oh, AEW stars and WWE stars all walk John Hennigan down the rampway. His entourage. Well, his entourage included Jake Hager, Taya Valkyrie, obviously his wife, Josh Barnett, Mojo Rawley, Karrion Kross, Scarlett, LA Knight, Vic Joseph, and somebody else. Purposely leaving his name out. Because entourage walks to the ring with you. And, you know, like I said, the Cake and Ice Cream crew, they got their own footage. They shared it with everyone. And it was ridiculous because at the very end, they did not record the person that made this all worthwhile. Now, I've kind of given you a little bit of a spoiler already. If you look at this photo on the screen, I think you could kind of get an idea of the person that I left out. Some people may not even realize who it is, but I'm going to show you the video that John sent me. And, you know, it's only a few seconds, but just watch the video closely, especially at the end. And it's just the funniest thing. And I was like, oh, come on, man. Like, there's tons of people online that are retweeting other people's videos, and the person that made this all worthwhile was not included. All right, look at your screen. There's John Hennigan. There's Josh Barnett. There's Taya Valkyrie. You see LA Knight, Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux. Now watch the left part of your screen very, very closely. Here they go. They're walking by. They're walking by. Wait, watch now. Watch right about now. Watch. Jake Hager, look. Hacksaw! Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Look, one more time. They're walking out to the ring. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. People were posting these videos like, where's Hacksaw? How do you post a video and you don't include Hacksaw? Oh, why? Because he was on Fox News recently? Look, watch. There he is. Vic Joseph with the red stylish. Oh, that was great, man. I thought that was cool. So yeah, but hey, John Hennigan looked good in his boxing debut. Looked legit. I mean, you know, you don't want to jump the gun and say, oh, he could fight Jake Paul or something like that. I think, you know, he might get his ass kicked, but he looked good. And it was nice to see, you know, that he won his first match. But that was so hysterical watching the video, because when I saw the other people's video earlier, like I was trying to like catch, like, okay, where was Mojo Rawley? And I saw Vic Joseph with the red stylish jacket. And then, you know, like I got a couple of more. And then somebody that checks out the show is like, oh, there's somebody missing in those videos. I'm like, who? He's like, let me just send it to you. And I watched the video and I'm like, how do you leave out Hacksaw Jim Duggan? Especially that he's had some pretty serious health issues lately. So I thought that was cool, man. I thought that was cool. All right. Something else that was cool. Oh, by the way, remember earlier we were showing you Becky Lynch blacking out her social media account? Remember we were talking about that earlier, and people are right away assuming the worst? Trish Stratus, in response to Becky Lynch going dark on Twitter, she posted this earlier.
Bye-bye, bitch.
Yeah, she posted that earlier. it was all to put the focus just on Trish. No one-on-one, no back and forth. Just let her do her deal, and that's it. So I want to show you something else that's going to be happening very, very soon. Second week in July is where they expected. I heard July 14th. Don't hold me on that date. All I know is that from July 9th to the July 16th, I believe, it's going to be, like celebrity editions of Family Feud. And last week we had the WWE. This is what they're calling him, everyone. How fucking creative. Check this out. It's the WWE men doing Celebrity Family Feud. Dolph Ziggler, The New Day, and Seth Rollins. The WWE men taking on the WWE women. Natalya, don't ask her to buy a U. Becky Lynch, Bayley, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan. So they did Celebrity Family Feud. There is another picture of it. I don't see Steve Harvey anywhere. For some reason, none of these photos seem to include Steve Harvey. Harvey. So, yeah. So that will be happening sometime in July. This week's history show, you do not want to miss. I'll show you a couple of photo synopsises. Oh, look, I'll just show you that. Is that enough? No, Jim Ross wasn't like, hey, Brood, bleed on me. Jim Ross got his ass kicked this week in history. There's a little photo synopsis, a little bit of AWA fuckery with Hulk Hogan. We see Triple H versus Hogan for a championship. Here's a little bit more of a preview. AJ Styles with the NWA title. ECW. We had an ECW wrestler take on a WCW wrestler, or WWF wrestler versus a WCW wrestler. And then Tommy Dreamer took on Taz. There's a lot of history there. Remember when Matt Hardy got fired for the Lita Edge real-life relationship fiasco? That happened this week in history. This was so hard to find. That was so hard to find, the coverage of when Brock Lesnar signed with WWE back in, 1999 or 2000. I don't remember exactly what year it was. Might have been 2001. But, that was the original article. This week in history, Brock Lesnar chose WWF over the Olympics. And this week in history, fucking Dr. D, David Schultz, Paul Heyman, Captain Lou Albano, they're all on Morton Downey Jr. Oh, that was epic. And a lot of audio clips will be on the show. For those that like the synopsis, there is a little bit of a synopsis preview that is part of it. And here is the other part of it. I don't know why it's zoomed in, but, it'll be launched Tuesday. And there's some wild shit that went down. You know what also happened this week? Does anybody remember when WWE promoted Bugs having sex? Does anybody remember that? I think it was 2016, Extreme Rules. This week in history, they advertise a commercial that's like, what's more active or more fun? And they actually showed two bugs having sex. This was only 7 years ago. Bugs having sex to hype up WWE Extreme Rules. I kid you not. I'm not exaggerating at all. This week is one of those weeks with a lot of bizarre shit, a lot of bizarre stuff attached to it. So, all right. What else we got to get into? I think we're done. Did we get into everything? Why do I feel like I'm forgetting something? I don't think I am. Yeah, I'm looking on the list. I'm checking it twice. Yeah, I think we are done. So, I know we forgot. We forgot a couple of super shout-outs. Got to always include the super shout-outs. Big Sal. 20 spot. Thank you, Big Sal. A 20 spot for the kitty. If you could channel your inner Vince for me and do an Iron Mike Tyson tonight, keep putting out bangers. I did see tonight that they're going to do a double episode of Steve Austin this weekend, Rivals. I think they're repeats. For some reason, it feels like the Austin Shawn Michaels one is a repeat, but You want me to channel my inner Vince McMahon and do an I Am Mike Tyson? Now, it is 12:25 a.m. here in New York, but you did give me a 20 spot, so I don't like doing these thinking first because all right, Iron Mike Tyson. Maybe not the best. It is a little late over here, so shut up. Thank you, Sal. I appreciate it. Much love as always. All right. Psycho Jet Black, thank you for the 5 spot, my friend. I once said that I hated Braun Strowman's just like all of you. I'll do it I also hate Roman Reigns. Can I explain my problem with that promo? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll do it in the voice too. At that time, Braun Strowman was feuding with Roman Reigns. Braun Strowman organically was getting cheered heavily by the fans. The fans were not accepting the force feeding of Roman Reigns as this quintessential babyface. Braun Strowman pushing, I think, the ambulance upside down or the A2. I don't remember if it was a truck or an ambulance, but he was pushing vehicles sideways with Roman Reigns inside. And the fans were cheering this guy. And online, there was a lot of, people were against Roman Reigns, but they were more for Braun Strowman. And Braun Strowman just doing what he's doing. I'm not finished with you. And he's feuding with Roman Reigns. And everybody's digging it. And Braun Strowman, when he would cut a promo every week, he would call out Roman Reigns, but that was it. And then we got to a week that I remember clearly. I remember really people online like, WWE, come on, Braun Strowman is the one. And what WWE did was they tried to shut that noise up by having Braun Strowman, for no reason whatsoever, cut a promo against the fans. And he came out that night, and the fans were just doing what they normally do, and he got on the mic. He's like, just like all of you, I hate Roman Reigns. And everybody's like, the fuck was that for? Like, it felt forced. It was scripted, obviously. And you had to watch it week in and week out and week in and week out and week in and week out because it just was so random, and you could feel it. You could tell that WWE did that to basically force the fans to turn against Braun Strowman again. I hated it. I thought it was stupid. Braun Strowman, he didn't have to turn babyface, but he was organically getting over. And Braun Strowman was still fairly new as a singles guy. This was not too far removed from him being with the Wyatt family. And, just to force feed that Roman Reigns is the babyface and Braun Strowman is the heel, and him just forcing like this in the fans, it came out of nowhere, and the fans didn't buy it. And, to me, it fucked up a lot of momentum for Braun Strowman, because now Braun Strowman had to go out of his way to try to get the fans to boo him even more. And listen, if you're a heel, that's your job, and I get that, but it definitely fucked his momentum up. So Bray Wyatt is doing some rehabilitation right now. I don't want to say anything more than that, because there's been 3 scenarios given to me, and I honestly don't know which one is right. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have the answer for you. And no one else out there truly knows either. There's 3 different scenarios floating around, but one thing is for certain is that there is legit rehabilitation. I'll tell you part of it. All right. A lot of people thought that he had surgery on his hand. Okay, that one I could say, because people forget that, when he was having matches, even with LA Knight, if you saw his hand, one of his fingers was like, think of Shawn Michaels' eye. Just picture that. That's what I thought early on. But then some people thought it was COVID. Then there was something else. And, when you get in that territory, I think you could figure out where I'm going with this. It's like, all right, you know what? I don't want to speculate. All I know is that the idea that he packed his bag and went home and this and that is not very accurate. It's convenient. Oh, there is a story. There is one story. I'd be very angry if we didn't finish up with this story. And you know what? I see Clone Force with 5 spot that just came in. Thank you, Clone Force. 99. It won't happen now that Vince is back. But what if both Usos get kicked out of the bloodline around August and Roman replaces them with the Authors of Pain? Bloodline, look, obviously this is an ongoing soap opera storyline, but the bloodline is one of the best storylines that they have done in arguably 15, 20 years. And to go from the Usos to a team that was never, ever truly over. I mean, I like the Authors of Pain. I fucking enjoyed them when they were with Paul Ellering. But they were never, to me, I put them in the category of the Viking Raiders. Like, they were never at a point where they were tremendously over. You don't put Roman Reigns with 2 guys, This is not like Triple H that wants to, or Randy Orton that wants to work with the Revival, FTR. Remember when Randy Orton wanted to put a couple of younger guys under his wing and do that? That's not what you do with Roman Reigns. If AOP were to return and catch fire, then you want to do something, I'm 100% with you. But to me, that is a tremendous step down. And I do think that the Usos and Roman Reigns ultimately split. You could feel that the fans want to cheer the Usos. The Usos are it. They are the number 1 tag team in the world. With all due respect, week in and week out, the test is to do it every single week and people aren't bored with it. That people get complacent with it. These guys are working and working and working. They're not just having like one match every 2 months or cut one promo every 3 or 4 weeks. They're doing it 2 times a week, and fans are still not tired of it. And that's not a knock on FTR or any other tag team out there, but the Usos, it's not even a question. They are the number 1 tag team. To take that and take him away from Roman, man, that's fans will definitely pop for it, but not right now. Not right now. But listen, I'd love to see listen, if you said to me I could have right now the Authors of Pain or the Viking Raiders, I choose the Authors of Pain, to be honest with you. So Clone Force 99 with another 5 spot. If that happens, you could start a tease. Wait, let me pull this up. You could start a tease with Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 to help out his brothers. I don't know about Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns at a WrestleMania. That is so early. WrestleMania 40. I see Gunther in a main event. The titles are going to be split by that time. Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa, if that's going to happen, I see it more like Survivor Series. At the latest, the Royal Rumble. Like, I just feel that, and plus if there's no title involved, it's not a bad idea. A lot of people have thought that Solo Sikoa, listen, I saw some people would try to claim it as news. Take an opinion and trying to turn it into a news story saying that, they're setting up Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns. At some point, most of these matches are going to happen. There's not too many first-time evers anymore. The only reason why Cody and Brock is a first-time ever is because Cody was gone for many, many years. And when Brock was here, Cody was nowhere near the main event position. So that's why you get first-time evers. But at some point, you probably will see Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa collide. For it to be a WrestleMania 40, there's got to be a deep storyline build to that. I don't know. It's way, way early. But, hey, I think we all agree about one thing. Solo Sikoa has only been on the main roster for 6 months, going on 7 months. I know because I brought it up before. When I went on my honeymoon the 3rd week in September, I was at NXT when he won the North American Championship, showed up surprisingly, and then they stripped him of the championship. He just was ready to debut on the main roster and stay there. That was mid-September. October, November, December, January, February, March. It's only going on 7 months. He has done a phenomenal job in 7 months, man. He has done a phenomenal job. So it's not out of the question, man. It's not out of the question. I want to finish up with one news story. It's something you should know. It's something you should know. I mean, we all understand now that Endeavor was the ones that told Vince McMahon, we want you to be the executive chairman, not of WWE, of everything. You heard that correct, right? Because nobody seems to be bringing that up. Vince McMahon will be the executive chairman of everything. Both sides. Vince McMahon still owns WWE, still has to do business, still has to ink TV deals, still has premium live events, still has revenue, still has payroll, still has salary. You don't freeze everything because you worked out a acquisition and merger with Endeavor. So Vince McMahon stepping aside creatively, that is part of the negotiations with Endeavor. They didn't agree to a deal and then like, oh, now what? What do we do about creative? Now what? That's why Triple H got a $5 million bonus, because they want Triple H to remain head of creative. It's not Vince McMahon's call anymore. It's Endeavor's. It's not on the dotted line yet. But again, when you work out a deal with someone and they're about to buy and merge and give you all this money and stuff like that, they have a say in everything. They had a say in Logan Paul getting re-signed. They'll have a say if WWE is interested in signing anybody else before that deal is finalized. Where I'm going with this, Vince McMahon sent an email last week to all personnel to basically reiterate what his roles are and are not in WWE. And in that email, he also let WWE personnel remind them that Triple H is the head of creative and Triple H is still the one in charge. Vince McMahon, with his power, how much he owns, and how much he has a say. Whether you like it or not, it's common sense. But Vince McMahon sent this mass email to WWE personnel last week to remind them that nothing has changed. Triple H is still this, and this is this, and it's that. Okay. Some personnel in WWE do leak information to your journalists online. You could fill in that blank with anybody you choose to fill it in with. Some of those journalists last week got a copy of that email. And because they dislike Vince McMahon this much, they chose not to report the email. They chose not to even report it as news that Vince sent this. They had the email a week ago that Vince was reiterating to those within WWE personnel, the wrestlers and others, that Triple H, you answer to Triple H and this and that. And they refused to report it because it gave a little bit more clarity of what Triple H's role. They want you to still think that Triple H is a puppet. You see about the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens story that came out today. That Louis Dangor, whatever his name, 22 years old. The fuck is wrong with you? The guy just passes puberty and he fucking writes dumb shit like that. You understand how deep that is in a religious aspect? These fucking goofs. Last week, a lot of these journalists had a copy of this email and ignored it because they want to keep this idea that Triple H is still Vince's puppet and Triple H has to do what he is told. And that's pretty awful, man. It's pretty stupid. So I just wanted to make you aware. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't get the email last week. I'm not a news journalist. I opine. If I want to get an answer for something, I can get it, obviously, most of the time, not all the time. But a lot of these journalists did get that email. And they chose not to report it, to keep the negative that Vince has got his hands in the cookie jar and he can't help himself. So, all right, I'm out of here. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. If you're part of our Patreon family, I will be live tomorrow at 10:05 right after NXT. Again, I will let everybody know. In fact, what I will do, and this is a little bit unprofessional, but I'm checking. Okay, I have not heard from Mr. Castle yet to see if he would be interested. He has not read it, so I don't want anybody to think like, oh, controversy. No. I asked him if he wanted to do a special draft preview discussion next Tuesday, so I will definitely let everybody know on social media. I'll post it on Patreon and YouTube, and if we do that, it'll be next Tuesday, probably 10 o'clock like we did last week and a week before. We'll do it live for our Patreon family, and as soon as the show is over, we'll put it online for everyone. So if you want to join me here Wednesday night, I'll be here for Wednesday Night Dynamite right after AEW. And don't forget, tomorrow, Tuesday, the history episode will upload. Now, I had few requests to make the shows available a little bit earlier in the day. And I got some homeboys here in New York like, hey, man, I'm on my rush hour. I want to listen to them. I'm on the train and this and that. So now they're going to be released at 4 o'clock every Tuesday. In the past, it was between 6 and 6:30. Now they will drop every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And we'll see where that goes. But enjoy it, everyone. It's been real as always. Don't forget about the riddle. Don't forget about the riddle. I think you could figure out the 2 words that I was talking about. If people get it wrong, I'm sorry. But it shouldn't even be a doubt. There should be no doubt what those 2 words are supposed to be. Because it was fucking trending on Twitter earlier. So there was 2 words from tonight's show that was trending. So you have to figure it out, obviously. So, all right, everybody, I'm out of here. Much love. Be well, and I'll catch you all again soon.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's alright. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.